Yeah, so we spent the majority of the last year touring, and we really wanted to put an album out that reflected the live show. So a lot of the thought process and all of the choices in the production and songs just kind of all supported the idea of us going back on tour. So we decided to start releasing songs and then an album, just a little month over before the tour comes out.
Wear Your Heart Out was actually the first song we wrote for this album in January. And we basically had like a whole bunch of other songs we wrote last year that we just threw away to write this album. And that was the first song that we wrote. And it just felt like super inspiring to us and like the direction we wanted to go. And then it kind of just loved the meaning of the song and everything. And it felt like it was a cool way to name the album as well, because it kind of makes sense with all the songs together.
I think that's a great question. I think the story that we're trying to tell is just becoming a more refined, diluted version of ourselves as a band and defining our sound, because as we go on, I think we're kind of stripping, even though this is a big album, there's a lot of energy to it, there's not a ton of extra production that a lot of maybe our previous songs had. It is a lot of just playing of fewer instruments and finding better parts that we love. A lot of this album was written from just where we are right now. We, in the past, we're always writing, but there's been a lot of cases in the past where we will write songs and then sit on them for a long time and they'll come out a year later. I think one of the things about this album is it really represents a chapter in our life, which was pretty much the end of winter going into, spring and summer of 2023. So it's just very much where we are right now. All of our songs are written from personal experience, but I think sometimes they've come out a little later and you have maybe different feelings about the same situation that you wrote them about, but these are all very fresh. But yeah, in general, we definitely write from personal experience, what's going on in our lives, whether it's us personally or friends, things we've seen. I mean, we're definitely trying to be as vulnerable in our songwriting as possible. I think the evolving era, I think that we're super proud of this album, but I think that this is a stepping stone to what's next, For me, it definitely feels like we're evolving and being open to that and not having, in some ways you're limiting yourself by like trying to take away instead of add to, like refine and that type of thing. But in other ways, it feels like the door is kind of opening for our future to.
Yeah, so the songs, this was like towards the end of us finishing. Like we had a good chunk of the album written, and this was like maybe the back 3 or 4 songs. Then when we wrote this, and John came in with the idea of, he had seen Coldplay on like a video on TikTok of Coldplay performing, I think on Fallon or something. And they did a version of Clocks where like every section of the song, it was playing that riff, but one was like somebody singing it, one was strings playing it, one was a guitar playing it. So he had the idea of like just like a song that was like evolving, and it was always like taking different shapes and like using different instruments. So I started playing that like intro lead part on the piano, and that is kind of like the through idea for the whole song. And throughout the song, like Joe starts playing that part on guitar, and then there's somebody starts playing it on strings and different things. But the idea of a song was like it was gonna be way weirder. I feel like when we wanted to start writing it, and then like we kind of got into like the meat and potatoes of it. And we were like, oh wait, this is actually like super sick. So let's just like fine tune like what we have here, and it ended up just being like a really cool song and like one of our favorites, I think.
And then the video was actually our manager she's rescued dogs before from this company in Nashville called Wags and Walks, their rescue center. And she has a really amazing dog, but she had a good experience with them, and she had this idea to give the money from the music video to that company, donate it to the shelter, and then sort of the idea just formed from that, where it's like, oh, we can take dogs out on a little dog date, and yeah, we just feel really lucky that we have, our fans have given us enough of a platform to be able to do stuff like that and hopefully give back a little bit. So, and all 3 of the dogs from the video got adopted, so we feel proud of proud really to be a part of something like that.
My favorite song on the album is definitely My Boys, which we wrote My Boys and Dry Eyes in the same day.
Yeah.
For 2 songs on the album. But it's just like a really fun song about just like your homies. And I feel like there's a bunch of cool stuff in the song we did. Like my 3-year-old son is in the beginning of the song. He says, "Where my boys at?" to start the song. Bunch of cool like production stuff we did on that one. But just like I don't know. It's a really fun, awesome song.
If I had to pick one, it's really, really tough. But I think maybe Like I Do or The Feeling are my 2 favorites. I also really like Radiohead, but I think Like I Do or The Feeling.
I'm gonna say Shirt, just because.
Nick loves that song.
Obviously, I love Like I Do and Work Hard on Dry Eyes, but I also really love Shirt.
Shirt's a fun one, dude. It's like you feel good when you're listening to it,
We're most excited for this tour, I think, for me, more so than anything else that we've done with the album, because the album was really written to be played live. So I think the tour will be, very rewarding to have all of that work that we've done on the album come to fruition, and be able to hear the songs being sung back by fans and just like enjoy that moment with them. So we're super excited about it. I think it's really when the album is going to come to life.
Secrets, huh?
Yes.
I'm trying to think. I think I thought of something the other day, but I forget.
Well, one
was in the intro of My Boys.
My Boys. Yeah. Also in My Boys, John does his first guitar solo that we've ever done on an album, which is really awesome. So that's a little secret. But I'm trying to think of something juicy, like some kind of good tea that we can spill out there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a ton of like tea, but I will say one thing about the actual like album artwork and stuff. We sort of accidentally started this thing on the last album where we, even though it's a photo, it's not
digitally created.
Yeah, it's not digitally created. We actually make the physical artwork and then take a picture of that, which is something that I feel like not a lot of people know. I know it's not very juicy, but it's something I think people just look at it and think, oh, it's like something that somebody made on a computer, but it's actually physically handmade.
There's like little things that we put in, like in Radiohead, there was somebody was doing construction in the like a couple houses down in Joe's neighborhood. There was like a truck backing up and it was like beep, beep. So we recorded that with an iPhone, and that's like in the end of Radiohead.
It was in the same key.
So it was in the same key, and like we put it in time.